Hey, everybody. Today is the 24th anniversary of 9/11. It is Thursday, September 11th, 2025. And usually we try to keep this channel kind of light, nothing too... I mean, we talk about politics, but we don't get really super... I don't want to say emotional, but we don't really try to stay on the negative too much. But this has been a rough week. So we're going to get into a few of the things that happened this week. We've made a decision not to put any videos up just because I think at this point everybody's seen them and they are horrific. But the week, started with that one woman getting stabbed in North Carolina.
Ukrainian woman.
What was her name?
I don't know.
It is Iryna Zarutska. Now, if you haven't seen this video, it is it's horrific. Basically, she's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she gets into
Train.
It's called a light rail train?
I don't know what that means.
Neither do I. But she just goes in wearing her headphones. She's on her phone when she sits down. She sits in front of an individual who's seated directly behind her. And then a couple minutes into the video, you see the guy behind her reach into his pocket, and we find out later he was pulling out a pocket knife. And then a few seconds later, he just gets up and stabs her in the neck for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
And that's the most troubling part right there.
There's no reason. Now, this individual was arrested.
Especially because he's had a history.
14 arrests prior. And there was a judge, I think it was a female judge, that just let him out again. And he's got a history of violence. He's got a history of mental health problems. And then this appears to be a racial attack, because there is a video of him as he's walking up and down the train. I don't know if you saw this part where he says, it's captured on audio, I got that white girl, or I got that white woman, as he's walking, and he's dripping blood.
Who's he talking?
He's just talking to himself. Oh. Yeah, talking to himself. And I got that white woman, dripping blood all over the place. And what really bothers me is nobody in the vicinity did anything. Everybody sitting, and you could clearly see there's video after the effect. I mean, it's a horrible video to watch.
And I don't know anything about them, obviously, but I mean, one was at least an older woman, and it happened so fast.
It did happen fast.
And there's nothing they could have done.
They couldn't have prevented
except for maybe calling for help. I don't know about that part or what happens after.
Right.
I didn't really see anything after the incident itself. So
well, basically, the video that's after the incident shows him walking up to the train doors. I mean, you could see on the floor drips of blood just everywhere he walks, just blood dripping everywhere. Someone one of the passengers I noticed did notice that, because he looked. You can see. This is right where he says, "I got that white girl." He looks down and he sees the blood, but then just continues talking to his two friends. So I don't know how targeted this was, because he walks by a bunch of people with a knife in his hand still. So he looks to get out, and then people start noticing what's going on. After this is all after the stabbing, yeah. The only thing we see of her,
I didn't see any of that.
After the stabbing, she's sitting in the chair just holding herself. The look on her face breaks my heart.
That's what I saw.
It's horrible.
But if that's all you saw, I wouldn't have realized that she died. I mean, it was so quick, and you can't tell how bad. Obviously must have got her jugular vein or something.
Right? Must have, absolutely.
Yeah, kind of shocking a few of the passengers didn't band together to try to do something.
Yeah, at least stop the guy.
I get an individual
or call for help for her.
If they think they can overpower the guy, what are they going to do?
Right, and the guy, he's not a big guy.
There was nothing they could have done about that. The attack itself, it was
instantaneous.
It was seconds.
Yes, there's nothing they could have done to prevent that attack. What they could have done is got the guy, held him down until police showed up.
And I don't know about if anyone calls for help for her at all.
At some point they do, because they show one passenger that's on the other side of the train. I think he notices what's going on, and he starts running to the back. Now, I haven't seen a video of what he does when he gets back there, but some people say he took his shirt off and tried covering the wound up and doing whatever he can, right, with an injury like that. So that was horrific, and hopefully this guy finally gets what he has coming to him. I'm sorry. That's the type of person we don't need on this planet.
Well, you said 16 priors, something like that?
14 prior arrests.
See, there's a problem there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you want to get into like the mental health aspect
Well, were
of
the
it?
14 arrests all for violence, or were they like
4 or
drug
5 of
offenses?
them were, but I don't know. But they said 4 or 5 were because of some violent behavior in the past, predominantly towards women. So I don't know. It's disgusting that these individuals keep getting out, and they say mental health problems, but the politicians are the ones that closed all the mental health facilities in the country, especially in New York. In our area, we had a few of them.
Mario Cuomo closed many of them in the 80s.
Disgusting.
And that's when the prison population boomed.
The prison
because
population exploded.
You had mental health problems walking all over the streets.
Now, we worked at...
And now mental health is still the #1 problem in prison.
And them are the ones that actually run the prisons now. It's predominantly mental health based. Now,
The mental health, you're talking about the civilians that work there.
the civilians
The mental
that-
health
yes.
people pretty much
And they
declare how
are
the prisons are run.
all on medication. Now,
Yes.
I didn't really realize this as much at Oneida.
No, because we sent all the mental health cases
everybody
to
out.
Midstate
So
at that time.
we both ended up at Midstate, and one of my first interactions with an inmate who was doing something ridiculous, I was kind of yelling at him, and he just looks off into space. And I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? I don't know how to deal with this.
And right after we got there, in the evening, about 7-ish, I don't remember the time, but they had the med run.
The med run.
The med run took hours.
Because of all
There
the
were so
individuals.
many inmates, hundreds and hundreds of inmates
I
going
would
to get
say
medication
80% of that
every
facility
night. Yes.
was on some type of mental medication.
So they're just getting doped up for the most part?
Yeah.
That's all.
it.
That's all they do.
That's it.
And the prisons
Then
aren't.
they go
They're
back
not
and go
meant
to
for
sleep.
that, and they're not made for that. They aren't getting the help in the prison system that they need, and some
No.
of these people can't be helped. So, I mean, if these politicians say they want to do something about the mental health crisis in this country, open mental health facilities back up.
Yeah.
I don't see.
absolutely.
I don't see what the problem with that is.
Right.
But
That would help the prisons a lot.
Absolutely.
I mean, in New York State, I don't know about around the country, but I can't
Yeah,
imagine
we
it's
can only
much
speak
better.
on New York because we've had experience with it. So we can't really speak on what's going on in other states like North Carolina, for example. I have no idea what their situation is down there.
See, mental health or not a mental health issue, if you have violent crimes in the past, you can't be out and about. I don't know.
I agree completely. They got rid of what was the 3-strike rule. Whereas if you committed the same crime 3 times, that was it. You're in prison. You're done.
Yeah, we used to have that.
We used to have that in New York.
Yep.
And then they got rid of all these. It's like what's happening in the prison system now. They get rid of penalties for bad behavior. And
Yes.
that's why the prison system in New York, obviously, because that's what we know, is as bad as it is right now. And they're constantly having issues with the inmate population because of mental health issues and because of the lack of consequences for your actions.
And that's probably the biggest problem is really the prison setting is not the best way to deal with all these mental health issues.
No, not at all.
And the correction officers aren't really trained
Not
as
trained
far
at
as
all for
dealing
that.
with any kind of mental health issues, really. It's just
Well,
dealing with the violence.
and even with the training that we received, I mean, it was a little more thorough when we first got in. But towards the end of our career, remember we used to do like hands-on unarmed defensive tactics? Eventually, I don't know if you were there for this, they just started showing us videos of all these like kind of Bruce Lee moves. And they're like, all right, this is what we expect you to do. And then you're looking at it and you're like, I'm not going to be able to do that. I've never done that in my life. Well,
But
they sign off. Well, you saw a video, so you should know what you're doing.
But even that's like dealing with the violence.
Correct.
But we don't have any training as far as dealing with mental health.
No. What they told us to do was get a hold of someone in OMH.
Right.
Okay, as he's doing what? Destroying somebody else on the floor in the day room?
And honestly, I can't really speak to this, but I would say they're probably overwhelmed
I would think so.
because it's, like you said, the percentage is very high.
Especially at specific facilities. I don't know if it's like that statewide, but at the facility we
But at
finished
Midstate
at
it was.
Midstate, it was insane.
Plus,
Literally.
I imagine there's plenty of inmates that just claim to have mental problems just because
Absolutely.
that's the easier way to go.
Yep. And they get those medication. And I don't know. It's a horrible situation. And this individual who stabbed that woman is a prime example of a failed system.
So he's
far
in
as
jail
that-
now.
Yeah. And
sure.
actually, Trump was pushing for the death penalty.
I
for
saw
him.
that.
And honestly, he should get it. I'm sorry. Something like that, unprovoked, a racist attack such as that one. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, what he should do is sit there for the rest of his life, don't know how long, doesn't know when it's coming, and then someone comes stab him in the neck from behind
So an eye for an eye.
in a couple of years.
Yeah. No. All right.
Every day he's waiting for it.
And I was thinking about showing the video of some of this stuff, but like I said earlier, we're not going to put any of the video up. If you want to see it, go see it. It's heart-wrenching. It's so hard to watch. And I don't know. But that is what started our week out this week. So it was horrible. I don't know. I had some fun stuff planned for today, and then all this nonsense happens. And then yesterday rolls around, and we had 2 major incidents in the country again. We'll start off with the one that I didn't even know about until last night.
Colorado
There was another school shooting yesterday.
Yeah, I just found out about
Now,
this 5
Now,
minutes
who
ago.
was the shooter? I don't know.
The
I
shooter
know
was
the
a
bare
student.
bones of this, but I don't know
I really
who
don't
the shooter
have
was.
all the information, but I didn't want to not talk about it.
I mean, was he wasn't a parent or anything?
No,
or a
no,
younger,
no.
was he a student?
Yes.
Oh, he was?
Yes.
Oh,
There were 3 individuals involved, and there are...
he had help? Are you
No.
talking about-
There were
Oh,
3 individuals involved in the incident. 2, and all 3 were students. 2 of them were victims. One, they say, was the perpetrator. They're all in the hospital, but as of this time, there are no casualties. Thank God.
No deaths.
No. Yes. Well, casualties, and that's the same thing.
If you get hurt, you're a casualty.
No. If you die, you're a casualty. If you get hurt,
Yeah,
you're
I
a
think
victim.
I think you got to die.
Oh my
You
God.
got to.
All right. Stand by. I think there's been an update. School shooting suspect is dead after attack. I'm trying to verify that real quick. But yeah, because of the other event we're going to talk about, I did not even hear about this. In the wake of Evergreen High School shooting, 1 teen remains in critical condition. Suspect victims in Wednesday's Colorado shooting remain unidentified. All these ads pop up as soon as you click on any article on the topic.
All these school shootings. Do you think the news plays any part in that with the not advertising? No, but,
Well,
having the stories that people
We
sitting at home.
argue that's going to be a big part of the next topic that we're going to talk about, as far as the media's culpability.
I mean, I get it. They got to report the
Casualty
news.
definition: a person killed or injured in a war or accident. That's casualty, not death
It says killed.
or injured.
I don't know about that.
It's the definition.
Is from according to who? The dictionary?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that doesn't fly on this at this table.
What's that? No.
Yeah,
Stupid dictionary. I apologize, people.
But that absolutely horrific. All school shootings are horrific, and until people are made an example of, there's nothing you can do. Because people say they want to. This is also going to lead into our next topic. Every time there's an incident involving guns, everybody wants to ban guns. Do you know how many probably billions of guns are in this country right now? What are they going to do?
7?
No, there could be 7 billion. I don't know. I don't know. You can look that up if you'd like.
Nope. You're gonna just say it's not what I think it is.
Oh,
Yeah, that's not going to work. Banning guns.
No.
It's like anything that's illegal. People know how to get a hold of them, and that's it.
and most of the people that are going to be affected by that are those who own them legally. So everybody who has an illegal one isn't going to follow the law. There are an estimate of 400 to 500 million civilian-owned firearms in the U.S. right now. So even if they ban
that's more
guns,
than one per
even if they
person.
banned them, how are they going to get 400 to 500 million guns off the street? They have to send the National Guard in, which we know liberals hate. Are they going to go house to house and see who's got what gun? Wouldn't that be authoritarianism?
Absolutely.
Is that what we want to do?
Well, nobody's saying we're doing that.
Well, no, I know, but I'm just saying. But that's what they're calling for.
You're getting excited.
They're calling for more gun bans, and that's not because the guy in North Carolina used a knife. So
Well,
now
like
are
you
we going to have a
said-
sharp object ban?
Politically, they're all opportunists.
Absolutely.
So as soon as there's a gun violence of any kind, people on that side, Democrats are saying ban guns.
Yeah, of
or
course.
at least limit guns.
And I have no issue with not gun control, but if you want to make it a little more difficult to obtain a gun, as far as a more thorough background search, age requirements.
Well, I mean, we're talking about how many mental health problems there are in this
Exactly.
country.
I have no problem with that.
they
I don't think
should
most
be
people do.
careful not to give mentally ill people
Correct.
weapons.
I don't think you should be able to go to a gun show and at that show buy a gun and take it with you. I don't think that you should not be able to
Especially handguns.
Yes.
I mean, because they're so concealable. But
do that. So that if you want to go that argument, I don't think I would have an issue with that at all. If you want to say we're doing a 2-week background check, we're going to look into your history, I have no issue with that.
right, because what is your urgency that you need the gun that day? Why do you need it
Right.
today?
And then if, like in a school shooting incident, if you're a parent and you have guns and your kids get access to those guns, you should be held accountable for what those guns do. I'm sorry, if you don't have your guns
depends.
secure in your house,
If you have them properly secured and
depends,
somehow,
yeah, and the kids get
absolutely. If they break into
a
the
lot
safe,
of times I think people don't realize that their kids see they see
Sure,
everything.
sure.
You think it's secure, but they know they hear you say
Well,
something or they see it.
right.
But yes, if you're, there are some times where
They're in like
where
just
these
a gun
kids'
shelf.
parents are definitely, almost egging them on in some instances.
It's
Like I
something-
said, I don't know anything about this guy, the kid from this attack.
Yeah, and I don't really. They like you said, they haven't even released who it was yet, so it's gonna
And
be
so
hard to
they
know.
haven't said anything about motives or any kind of stuff like that. Or,
Not as of right now. I'm sure all that's going to come out, shortly.
was there like school resource officers
They
or
said
any
there
of
was
that kind of
not a
stuff
school
there?
resource officer on duty at the time. Now that I don't know if they don't have one or if
Did
they're
they say
just-
not on duty at the
And
time?
I believe they did say not on duty at the time, and I believe it started during their lunch hour. So maybe he was even off site going to get lunch or something, which doesn't make sense.
But then you would
honestly.
think that's more. They're all out of class.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you should be out
Yeah.
and patrolling the hallways. And we got quite a few friends that actually do that job locally, and I don't believe they leave campus the entire time.
I
they're on
wouldn't
duty.
think so either.
No,
but
I
we'll
don't
have
think
to
so.
Find out more about.
But now
Are they armed, these people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they all carry. No, I shouldn't say all of them. The ones that are hired by the sheriff's department carry. The ones that are hired by the school do not carry. Because there's some schools,
is that how it works?
I think in Utica, they have just resource officers that are hired by the school. And I don't even know if they're called resource officers. They might have a different name for them. But the ones that the sheriff's department hires, they do like a full academy, just like you're going to the sheriff's department.
Yeah, that's
and
what
they
our
are
friend
all-
was just going
yes,
through.
and they are all carrying inside the schools. And now that leads into another incident that happened yesterday, and we did a little short on this yesterday, in which conservative speaker Charlie Kirk was shot in Utah. And if you haven't, that video is just as blatant and disgusting as the woman who was stabbed in North Carolina. I can still see it in my head. It's so
I'm
hard to
sorry
watch.
that I saw it.
Yeah.
It really was disturbing to me.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
And
Well, Mark hadn't seen it yet,
I hadn't seen
so I showed it to him just so he knew what we were talking about today, and it's disturbing.
I saw enough. I tried to unfocus. But
I would say pretty clearly I'm more centrist than you are. I would say you're a little
center
bit
right.
farther to the right than
Right.
I'm not saying you're
Where
far
would
right.
you say? Do you have a political?
I'm right in the middle. I'm independent. I'm registered independent.
That's how I feel.
In
But
fact,
I
both-
didn't like a lot of Charlie Kirk's viewpoints, or I didn't agree with a lot of them. But it doesn't mean that you should kill somebody.
No.
I mean,
horrible.
I'm heartbroken
I mean, if
over
you
it.
see, we're gonna put a couple of the pictures of him with his family here, just as a like we're honoring him a little bit.
Yes.
But he
I
was
agree
a
that
loving
we should.
father. His kids were adorable, and now they have to go their entire life knowing.
I don't know how many kids he had.
Two.
I know the
Two
one
kids,
little girl
1-year-old
I've seen
and like a
several
4-year-old
pictures
or something
of.
like that. So now they have to
He
live.
was 31.
31 years old.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And he started that company in his teens. So that's impressive.
Yeah.
And you cannot agree with him. He was a very traditional marriage type of person, and he didn't believe in a lot of the trans stuff.
And very religious.
Very religious.
Very strong opinions on international politics and
Sure.
stuff too, as far as Israel
yep.
and Palestine.
And then as far as the border.
But he was, I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff. He was very smart.
Yes, very
He
smart,
was
very articulate.
Very smart, very good at
And people
articulating
say that
his
he
point.
would just talk over people at debates.
He would not.
He would not. He had an actual debate with people. He had people going up to the microphone screaming at him, hating his guts.
And I've seen several where the people did well against him. They
Yeah,
were very
absolutely.
because they'd come up and he'd ask them questions, and a lot of them had no idea what they were mad about. Really, that was his main point.
Yes, exactly.
And
Like
most of the time, that was true. They come up and they're so mad. I'm mad about Palestine. Okay, what exactly are you mad about? Where is Palestine?
Yeah,
And they're
exactly.
like,
They have no idea.
and then yes, things like that. So I understand what he was doing. I disagree with views, but that's okay. We can
That's
disagree.
what this country is built on.
difference
Yes.
of opinion is healthy.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you might I've been proven wrong before.
Oh, I was going to say the same thing. Just
yeah,
because I
casualties.
disagree
Right.
with him doesn't
Well,
mean I'm right.
Do you
either.
remember we had this is a little off topic, but we had a debate because you said that Trump said that people should be injected with bleach He said we have to inject people with bleach.
Not have to. I mean, he was saying that there might be a way to combat COVID.
I asked you to find it, and we couldn't find it. We found the one where he said people should, they're looking into a disinfectant you can inject yourself with. And he was actually talking to a medical doctor. But this
it was during a press conference.
Right. But this goes into how the media portrays all this. And this is to your point earlier. The media, as far as I'm concerned, is culpable in everything that happens in this country. Because they don't go on and just state facts anymore. They have to interject their opinion, and it's all biased based on who they like or dislike. So anything that Trump does at this point, like if you watch MSNBC, which is by far, you could say Fox News, but even they are way more accurate than MSNBC ever is. They have their president yesterday had to come out and issue an apology because of what one of their hosts said in regards to the shooting. I don't know if you saw anything.
I just saw the article that they let somebody go.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Their hosts on that show, they're completely unhinged, deranged newscasters.
But as bad as the news is, which I agree, I mean, they are obviously very partisan, all of them pretty much. As bad as the news is, the algorithms on these social media platforms are just as bad, if not worse.
I can't find something.
Because if you look up an incident and say, I, as a more centrist, a little, but I'll get different results than you will get. They will feed into what you believe.
Absolutely
and they know it, and they make the division worse.
Yes. This is why people need to actually, like, I was arguing with somebody on Facebook.
And that is one good thing that Charlie Kirk did. I mean, it was more about facts and having a discussion, and it is very important to do that. Even if you don't agree with somebody, you can still talk about stuff.
The sad part is, I think that
look at you and I. You rarely hit me anymore. Right?
Keep it going.
Maybe today, but it's been a while.
I haven't seen it in a while. Let's go.
Thanks, Mark. It's good to have you.
We'll save that for the sports segment.
Yeah.
But the only way we come together is by having discussion, and that's exactly what Charlie Kirk used to do. He used to have discussions with people. You may not agree with them, but you should see some of the people that he talked to were completely unhinged, and he remained calm and fact-based. And they're just spewing nonsense that they absolutely know nothing about, that they're just parroting from something they saw on TV.
And Trump made a nice statement today. I don't know exactly how he feels about it, but it was a very good statement. At least it was very calming. Talking about you can disagree with people without killing people. I mean, you don't have to hate people just because they have a different point of view.
Absolutely.
Right.
If you ask, and
hate is the problem.
I've seen interviews like this where they'll interview liberals and they'll interview conservatives, and they say, would you remain friends with someone if they had this opposing viewpoint with you? 90% of the liberals say, no, I wouldn't. Like 90% of the conservatives say, of course I would. That has nothing to do with our friendship. So as far as I'm concerned, liberalism is a bigger problem than conservatism is in this country, because this goes back to the signs out in Clinton, they only despise hate as long as you agree with them. If you disagree with them, then the hate is okay. Whereas on the conservative side, and I've seen this at
you're saying they hate?
No, I think we hate hate.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not a fan of hate.
I'm not a big fan.
Liberals, they tend to lean towards, if you don't agree with me, I don't want anything to do with you, and you're wrong. Whereas conservatives they're more open to discussion and maybe trying to find a common ground.
Well, everybody should be.
I'm middle right, and that's exactly how I am. I would rather have a discussion with someone. We know people like at the bar that talk politics, and sometimes it's just pure vitriol and hatred for one person in particular.
Well, you and I have had disagreements where we've gotten a little heated.
It's got heated, of course.
But we can step away.
Yeah, that's it. We have the debate. You're usually wrong, and we move on.
Yeah, we move on. I just say, yeah, Steve, you're right, Steve. And then everything seems to get better.
Seems to work out after that, right.
You guys are civilized. There's no casualties afterwards.
Right.
And
it's come close. But, these individuals, like I said, in the media should be held accountable for what they put on air, because a lot of people in this country don't do the research. They'll see something on one of these channels, and that's fact.
I was scanning through them all today, and it's easy to say today, the day after such a brutal thing happens. But everybody seemed to be having the same message today.
I hope so.
All across the board was.
Now,
this is not the way.
If you go on,
even on Fox, I mean, they were saying, this. You don't know who this assassin was at this point.
Correct.
But it still doesn't seem beneficial to anybody. It's not helping the left.
Actually, Charlie Kirk was supposed to debate I'm not sure, I don't remember who it was, a high-ranking liberal this week coming up, I believe. Oh. And he said He made a post that said, stop. Stop the nonsense online. Stop cheering this, because the next person they're going to come after now is me. You know what I mean? Now a conservative is going to see how excited.
Oh, you mean that conservative said?
The
liberal rather said that, because I could be next now.
Yeah, exactly. Because nobody wants to see political violence in this country. Nobody wants to see any violence in this country. But just
even with the attempts on Trump's life, I mean, what are you doing?
It's insane.
It's
Can you
crazy.
imagine if Trump got killed that day?
No.
We probably would have had some type of civil war. Is assassinating a political opponent in the United States of America in 2024 at the time? Well, it's insane.
It's hard to believe where we have been heading as a country politically,
It really is.
with all the anger, because things that you only saw in, like, say, South American countries or something, we're seeing that kind of violence here, and I'm shocked.
It's really disheartening.
And I don't mind the protests.
No.
If you want to civil protest, peacefully protest, fine. Whatever your viewpoints are, I get it. But then when it goes beyond that and the violence starts, that's when
just
the
a side note on the protests, and we've seen a lot of them over throughout the country. A lot of these people are paid to be there. Now, if you're going, like, in particular, I'll bring up just the one in Washington, D.C., that they're very against the National Guard being in there assisting the police force and eliminating crime. Almost all the people that are at this protest don't live in that area. Because if you go and actually look, which everybody should do, there's so many interviews of people that live in these neighborhoods that say they need this extra help because they're tired of the violence. I mean, they're fighting over Chicago right now. And they don't want the National Guard there. But you talk to people that live in Chicago, and they're like, absolutely, we need the help. We don't have, but the politicians and the governor, what's his name? Pritzker? He just blamed Donald Trump for this assassination. I can't believe what he said.
Oh, I didn't hear that either.
Yeah, look it up. It's disgusting.
Right,
Absolutely disgusting.
Let me ask a question, because first the National Guard started in Washington. They came in and helped, and now Chicago. So what is like the local...
Are they in? Did they go to Chicago? I don't think they did.
Yeah, I think ICE
but that
is
was
there,
good. They were talking about being
happens
next.
to the local law enforcement? Are they still there?
As the way it goes is local law enforcement is the lead.
They don't affect local law enforcement in any way, really. They're just kind of
they are in an assistant capacity.
Assistance
Is that there?
Assisting, maybe?
Assistatory? Is that a word?
Are they just
That's
like
a good word.
locally,
Try it, yeah.
like the DC police force? They get their underrun a bunch because they feel slighted, like we can't get the job done.
No, the police force, they want them there because they're so understaffed. So the only reason people have an issue with it is because it's Donald Trump's idea, and the people that hate Donald Trump say it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Authoritarianism. Yeah.
It is a big change in presidential powers because they've never done this where without consent, like put National Guard into, say, a state like that, or cities rather, really. But that doesn't mean he can't do it.
Right.
And they're just worried about that extra power being given to the president.
Well, maybe if they had done this earlier, we wouldn't have the problem in these major cities that we do right now.
Right.
Give the police force what they need to, and
give this some time to work itself out. He has 3 years,
3.5 years left.
So there's going to be some time. Let's see how this works. We're going to know how it went.
And
one other thing, when we initially talked about this a few weeks back before all the Chicago stuff, we were talking about the fact that the National Guard doesn't have training in being a civil guard type unit.
Correct.
But Trump wants to get them that training.
Right.
And I think that's a good idea.
This is very similar to putting them in the prisons like we have in New York.
Yes.
The National Guard is all over the prison system.
And they don't know what they're doing.
They are not trained to do that, but they're there, and their presence is a deterrent.
They brought the National Guard in the... I think it was the early 80s into the prisons. Same thing. And a friend of mine was in the National Guard at the time. And he said they had no idea what they were doing. And they just get thrown in there and they kind of just sit there all day because they don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's tough.
They want them to get a hold of the officers if something actually happens.
All right, let me ask a question. Might be a stupid question, but so what's the National Guard do
stupid questions.
On a regular basis anyway?
They're not active.
Unless they're active, they're probably, I would say predominantly has been training the only time they've been active recently.
I mean, they mostly train, like a weekend training. I don't know how often. I don't remember how often, but they train and then they're not active unless they get called up for an emergency. So that's why this is Trump is calling it an emergency. And the city is saying it's not an emergency. That's why the numbers are getting brought up all the time. Like there were more murders last year, so why are you sending them in this year?
Yeah.
But then they go into Washington, D.C., and that one initial number with the, was it one night with no murders, or was it a week with no murders?
They were at 10 days last I saw in a row.
Without murder.
any murders.
So how can you argue with that?
Right.
I mean...
One thing I did notice, and everybody should look this up. I know there's some fans of Jasmine Crockett out there. You know who she is?
No.
She's a politician out of Texas.
Was she related to Daisy?
No, but she is one of the most vocal Democrats right now, and they had her on some podcast where she was being interviewed. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, and she says it is not the police's job to prevent crimes; it's their job to solve crimes. And then
That's
everybody
not
is
true.
like, "What did you just say?" She is one of the leaders of the Democratic Party right now.
That's
She's right up
crazy.
there with Bernie, AOC. She's probably in the top 5.
So the police are supposed to sit there,
Just sit there,
until a
let
crime happens and then figure out who did it?
And the video's out there. The whole podcast is out there. Go watch it because you probably won't see that on MSNBC or CNN.
That is ridiculous.
It's absolutely insane.
Poor North Carolina girl we were talking about earlier. If there was a police officer, according to this opinion, right on the aisle next to him, they're waiting for the stabbing before they do anything.
But then that would be an easy
According to
crime to
her,
solve if he
yes.
saw it happen.
Now, I don't know if there was supposed to be an officer on that train because there was talk about that too.
I have no idea.
And I hate bouncing
don't
all
know.
over the place, but you just mentioned that, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure. But if there was one there, would that have prevented him from even thinking about doing that?
I doubt it. If he
Man.
has the mental health issues that he has,
But
and
if he had a weapon and the police,
unless
thought
the
that they
guy
could-
was standing right there, it might have. But what are the odds on it? Who knows how many cars are even on that
Right,
train?
right.
I mean, I know there's no way of knowing the answer.
Right,
I just
that's what I mean.
wonder
I don't
if,
know.
like, was he hell bent on doing that day? Like, was he doing that to someone?
I don't
who
think
knows
so.
what?
I mean,
Or
I
was
don't-
it just?
He's crazy.
I would think that
He had
he just
the knife
saw
right
the
in his
opportunity,
pocket,
but he
though, right?
probably
Was it a knife
It was a
or-
knife. It was a pocket knife. He probably always carries that. And they say, I don't. Is there like a metal detector to get on those trains? I wonder.
Not that I know.
Because they said that he just jumped whatever thing went on without buying a ticket or anything.
Well, they have the turnstiles to buy a
Right,
ticket, right? But a lot of people do that, unfortunately.
But one thing back to Charlie Kirk being executed, and I think it was an execution. I don't think it was some random guy.
It was definitely
was
somebody
a professional,
trained
yes.
in some way.
Because they said it was a multi-100-yard shot.
over 200 yards. I heard.
No, we don't have all the facts on this just yet, but that shot was.
I heard
right on
that they
target.
did find the weapon.
It had to be a high caliber rifle, wasn't it?
They thought it was from that one roof top.
Right.
So I don't know. I haven't heard that it definitely was there. You know, if they know where the shot came from or not. But I know they found the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
They had several people that are persons of interest right now. But who knows? Look, the one guy they arrested yesterday,
Turned out
or they grabbed, but people were ready to kill him right there. I
know.
Thank God that nobody
Something
did
like
anything
this-
because you don't
know.
the wrong person.
And something like this, you definitely got to do a thorough investigation. The one on the train, fucking kick him. I don't
You
care.
obviously know we saw it.
Put him in a noose, put him in the
Everybody
center
saw
of the park, and just execute him. We don't need that person. We don't need him being rehabilitated, coming out and doing
You
it
want him
again.
hung and shot?
If we could do both at the same
Well, you said put him in a noose and shoot him.
I said hang him.
Didn't you say shoot him?
No, I said hang him. We'll play. You can watch that back.
If we got a thief or a violent offender and they're back out on the streets, can we get like boxing gloves where they got to go around? Not that boxing gloves,
Where
but
that's what
something
they
where
wear, so
they can't
really
access
use-
to their hands?
Yeah, they can't use their hands
It's disgusting.
until they get home.
And
When they-
before we bring this home, one other thing that made me disgusted was people's response to the shooting online. If you go on Facebook, if you go on Twitter, if you go on X, people are cheering. They're happy. There's videos of people cheering that he got murdered. And that blows my mind.
Mine too.
That is absolutely disgusting. And you people that do that, you shouldn't have any space in public. You shouldn't have a job. You should be ostracized by everybody that knows you because that's absolutely gross. I hated Joe Biden. I never wanted to see anything bad happen to him. I just wanted him out of office.
Right.
People that I don't like, I don't wish death on. I don't wish any harm to them. I just want them gone. And we do that through our voting process. So you're stuck with this person for 4 or 6 years. When the time comes, join a campaign of the opposition. Help them win.
Yep.
But to go out and cheer a father, a son, a husband's murder is absolutely disgusting. And if any of you people are subscribed to this channel or anybody's on my friend list on any social media, go off it.
Get out of here.
Because you are a disgusting human being. Makes me absolutely sick. And if you don't think it's true, go ahead and look on Facebook. Look on Twitter. Just type something ridiculous like that in, and you will see these scumbag, horrible people out there cheering his death just because they disagree with him politically.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Fucking gross.
That's vile.
It is vile.
You know, I mean, you guys know.
Well,
this
that's
is the greatest
why-
country in the world, and unfortunately,
We do live in the greatest country in the world.
it seems like we're the only ones that can take us down.
Did you see
And
those?
Absolutely, yeah,
it's
you're right.
leaning that way.
The sad thing is that's what all these communist nations were saying in like the 50s and 60s. They said, we can't go in and attack America. We got to destroy them from within. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They had a poll the other day about socialism and capitalism. Socialism is sinking or is rising, and capitalism is sinking in popularity in this country, which makes absolutely no sense.
But that's up to them. If that's what they really want.
Well, that's why New York City is going to be a good experiment. If this Mom Donnie wins down there,
yeah.
we'll see exactly how socialism works in a big city in this country. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. But I don't know. I think we kind of beat this one as far as we can. I'm getting emotional about this. I'm getting a little fired up, and I don't want to say something too stupid on here.
But basically, if people are angry about something, especially politically, take it out at the polling booth or
Absolutely.
at the voting booth.
Or go debate. Have a debate. And I was arguing with somebody on Facebook about
But take a deep breath.
liberalism and conservatism. And I'm like, well, we have a podcast and you're local. Come on the podcast and we can talk about it. Absolutely not. They say, I see your views are where they are and I'm never going to change your mind. I'm like, okay, you can still, we don't add anything on this. If you want to come on and express your opinion, come on and express your opinion.
I do think that is pretty factual, though. I know who you're talking about, but I mean, I do think that really you do not
It was
change
a friend
anybody's
of a
mind
friend.
most of the
Nobody's
time.
mind is gonna change.
No matter what you're arguing over politically
And
like
that's
that.
fine too.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
you know, you got to be.
That's what I mean.
willing
You
to-
don't have to agree with me.
No.
You don't have to see it the other way, but you gotta
Accept it because
gotta
that's
accept it.
exactly
That's their
you
opinion.
do you, I'll do me,
Right.
and we can both live in this world.
Yep.
Yep.
You don't have to kill someone just because you disagree with them. That shows who the weaker and who the stronger one is right there. You've already lost when you did that. So I don't know if you guys got anything else on this topic. I'd like to
No,
be done
I don't
with
want to
it,
overdo it.
just because it's a horrible topic, and I'd like to move on to something a little happier.
Yeah, we'll get lighthearted. My only question was: someone has a mom named Donnie. Who's Mom Donnie?
No, Mom. Donnie.
All right, that's going to do it for this segment. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching Two Studs and a Dud. Please like, subscribe, and share this video.